don't start a business for business's sake. Don't start a business because you think I'm going to make money or I'm going to be free. By starting your own business, you're going to be more tied down than ever. It's really, really hard. You're going to get punched in the face every single day, 10 times a day. So unless there's something that you really care about, unless you're really committed to this idea or what you're trying to bring to the world, don't do it for the sake of doing it. Mm-hmm. Take the time that you need to prepare yourself before you go and jump into the deep end.
You're listening to the 9 to Survive podcast, where we speak to the most inspiring entrepreneurs of Australia. I'm your host, Alex Whiteside, the CEO of EasyCompanies. Running your own business can be quite daunting and scary. We're here to show you how to face those fears and help you build your dream today. We listen to the innovators, the game changers, and the thought leaders who have built their startups from the ground up. Hear what makes them tick, how they've overcome their own failures, and be inspired to take your own leap of faith and ignite your passion for business. So on today's show, we've got Domenic Nesci. He's running CRIBZ. It's a real estate platform helping agencies analyze their data. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to us on the podcast and check us out on YouTube, as we also put these up there in video format. Hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the show.
Good to be here.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about what CRIBZ does. Where'd the idea come from?
CRIBZ came about out of necessity, really, because I've worked in real estate for all of my life. I've bought and sold property, and I've sold probably more than $1 billion worth of assets over my life. And I noticed that one of the biggest pain points was really understanding who the clients were, the people that were buying the properties. So when I left my job, went about, sort of waffled about and did what I could do. And then I partnered up with my business partner, Peter, and he's really the tech head. And we said, well, how do we make this buying and selling property easier? And we've noticed that the things that we did well, we wanted to be able to make, automate and make processes for that technology. So that's a really long-winded way of saying that, CRIBZ is a technology to help us understand who our clients are in a very quick and easy way. We get all the breadcrumbs that clients leave all over the internet, find out what social media they use, what are their interests, habits, how old they are, where they work, quickly put that into a snapshot of that person. So whenever you inquire on a property, we now know a lot about that person that's inquired, so we can get the right agent to talk to you, or we can talk to you in a fashion that makes sense for you.
Yeah, love it. And did you always know you wanted to be in business?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were young?
I think I was just a little shit when I was younger. Yeah. I hated people telling me what to do, even though I was doing the wrong thing, and I wanted to make my own mistakes. So even though I've...
Like you didn't want to work for someone else kind of thing.
Well, when I was younger, I always looked for mentors. I always looked for people that inspired me, and I wanted to be around them. But an element of why I think I was a good employee is that I was always trying to do things differently. I was always trying to get out there, break things, make my own mistakes and learn. And then, that obviously comes into conflict when people are running their own business. They want you to do things the way they want you to do them.
That's what I found. That's why I had to start my own business in the end, because I'd always go I'd give someone, this is where I think the business should go. And they're like, mate, just get back to your job. Hey, stop trying to run the business. And I'm like, no, but this is it. And then it just, even if you come up with an idea, it takes so long to get implemented. And I'm like, no, that's it. I'm starting my business.
Well, it also just looks so fun for me, because I worked with really good people, and they were really dynamic, high energy, and they were able to get an idea, run with it. And they gave me the responsibility and power to do it for myself.
Yeah.
So then when you see people make their dreams come true, that's really inspiring for you to then go do it yourself. At a point you say, hey, I've helped you build this amazing business, and I love what you've done for your life. How do I attain the same freedom? And it's not until when you go make your own business you realize that it's way, way harder than they show you.
Yeah, I know what you mean. When I think about, what an old boss used to look like and the things that used to do, I used to, oh, that's easy, I can do all this, right? But then when you're actually in the sea and you realize what it takes to be a leader, to be a manager, to even just direct the ship, it's challenging, isn't it?
Yeah, well, we've been lucky because we we're VC funded, so we've got a pile of money. We've been able to build some cool technology. We've been able to travel the world, meet really great, interesting leaders and entrepreneurs, and it's crazy then when you're building your own business to then create that vision. Where do I want it to go? And then you're noticing how dynamic it is we're in our first year of operating, and how much the business can change the direction, but not necessarily the vision. As in the ways that we go about trying to achieve our goals change, but that goal hasn't changed. The problem we're trying to solve has remained the same.
What got you into business aside from like wanting to do your own thing? What was the driver behind wanting to run your own business?
I'm going to sound not altruistic because I hear a lot of podcasts and I listen to Tim Ferriss and Tony Robbins, and I read all those books, Simon Sinek and everything. But, they say you've got to have this altruistic worldview.
The why.
Yeah, the why. My why was kind of a bit selfish. I wanted to be financially free. I think there's easier ways to make money than start your own business.
There is, yeah.
But it was the freedoms that come with starting your own business as well. So I wanted to make money, obviously, and be able to buy the fun things that I wanted to buy. I was able to do that while I was working for someone, but then it came to a point where I said, I've got all the material possessions that I wanted, but I still don't feel fulfilled. Now I want to go do it in my own way. I want to start creating and have the freedoms to go and do it in my own way. So it was really about, I think, the freedoms more so than the...
Yeah, I'm the same. When I started my business, it was about getting, just wanting the freedom to travel and to run a business. It's funny because you get in for that, and then you get tested through all of this other stuff. It's like, and then slowly that vision of like traveling, it just disappears because you got to focus on the company, and it's like, yeah. It's amazing how the journey unfolds, because that, like, at least for me, that why just opened up to a bigger picture, which then became like, delivering exceptional customer service and making customers happy and stuff like that. So
yeah, that's interesting you say that, because it unfolds in time.
Yeah,
it's like you cop a punch and then you learn something. You cop another punch and then you learn something. And you cop 50 punches and you're like, fuck, this hurts.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? And it causes you to kind of reflect, look at yourself, and really understand, well, why am I in this? And in that time, I've learned, by the way, can you swear on this podcast?
I guess you can now, yeah.
I've learned that it is about creating those magic moments, not to sound corny. Like, I really do love doing that customer service piece. I like working with people, learning more about them, what they're trying to achieve, and get to that outcome. And I think when you run your own business, you have the freedom and flexibility to work with so many different people. You get to sit in podcasts, you get to meet other business people, you get to work with customers, suppliers. You get tested in so many different ways that you kind of left raw at the end of the day. But if you really love it, there's nothing else that you'd rather do. That's
it. So it's more about the would you say it's more about the journey than the destination, like getting the big exits and stuff like that? It's more about just
100%
like the process that you're going through at the time, right?
So a metaphor, something happened to me the other day. I was traveling. I just came back from Europe, and I got to meet my girlfriend's nephews. So they're really young, they're 2 and 4. And the whole day we're about to go to the museum. Now, ordinarily, when you're traveling, it's about getting to the destination, to get in the plane, to jump on the bus, to get to the destination, and then I'm going to feel happy and excited because I've made it to the beach or whatever. Yeah. When you're with kids that are so young, the journey is the experience.
That's it. Yeah.
They're like, we're going to jump on a train, Thomas the Tank Engine, and they're so excited. And then you get off the train like, wow, there's an ice cream shop. So for them, they're really brought to light that it really is, the journey is the experience. And it was kind of like one of those reflective moments where I realized obviously I want to do the exit or get the big check and, have all that success and glory and fun stuff. But if you don't love the journey, then you're not going to survive in the industry. You're not going to want to do it.
Did you make it to the beach?
Yeah, well, we made it to the museum.
Oh, the museum. That's right.
And that was awesome fun.
Yeah, I know. My yoga teacher was saying it the other day. Actually, she's like, like controlling the mind, like, you know, you think about mindfulness and stuff like that. It's not like, getting from A to B. It's like a child. You've got to move, you got to take time, you got to kind of bring it back into, we're going here, but allowing the space to kind of flow, if you know what I mean. Like you're going to want to go check out, as you say, the ice cream stand. You want to do all that kind of stuff. For some of us, it's just like, got to get there, that's it. And you miss all that, the fun along the way, right?
Yeah, that's another thing I think, you know, we keep on reflecting back on business, and like that's a podcast, that, you know, you need to get your hands dirty and do the stuff that makes money. And all of it isn't fun, but also create enough space in the moment to not get stuck in that default mode network. You know what I mean? Like there's a stuff that you have to do every single day, and it's very easy to get stuck into those little thought patterns of just doing stuff and be autonomous.
Yeah.
But you need to create enough space to sort of savor all those moments and treat every single client differently, and find out how can I do this differently, and what will make this more efficient, or even make space at the end of the day to then reflect and say, well, what actually happened? What was successful? What wasn't? Where do I want to take myself? And if you kind of get trapped in the everyday motion, you'll kind of just end up somewhere rather than a destination you wanted to be. If that makes sense?
No, it makes perfect sense. I think that's it. It's like, and you never know how it unfolds in business, right? You can end up pivoting into a completely different direction to what you originally, you know, planned. So
certainly,
and that's what makes sense. Where did the passion for real estate come from?
Passion for real estate came from my parents, my family, from the world around me. When I was quite young, I used to look up at, you know, the elders around me, and I thought the people that owned property were cool and successful. And I came from, I had a really unstable childhood. And one of the things that I noticed that would have made my life more stable was financial security. And I noticed that when you get to a certain level of financial security, it allows you to think a little bit differently. It's like having water or air. When you got enough money, it allows you sort of the ability to think more freely and think sort of not just survive, not just fight, and, you know, it allows you to kind of think a bit more clearly. So for me, that's a long-winded way of saying that by getting property, I thought it was a way to get to financial security and then sort of free you up to do other things. And it does.
That's it.
It really does.
Yeah.
So working in property is really liberating, fun and exciting. And now it's gotten to the point where I want to start building technology, because where do I see myself in the next 5 or 10 years? Property is a pretty stable, unmoving, immutable asset class, where technology is this new, emergent, exciting, dynamic thing. And I thought that being in data, being able to interpret, use, understand data is where the future is going. Now I want to marry those two worlds, where using data in that real estate world, what kind of explosive, new, exciting environment will that lead to, you know?
Yeah, well, it's already changed, hasn't it? The entire real estate space. Like, you know, we're going online now to find homes. We're not checking the paper anymore. But as you say, the incredible amount of data that they're picking up. Where do you see the future of like real estate going? So if you could have all the technology or the data you wanted, where would you see the future of that?
Well, what we're trying to do is engineer serendipitous occasion. There's a little bit of like Jason Silver there.
Yeah.
Where you fall over things as you need them. So what I mean by that is we inquire on properties. So we're probably in a number of different databases, McGrath, Real Estate, Domain, CBRE, Colliers. All these agents have all of our information, and then largely we just get sent these random EDMs that say, hey, do you want a property? And you're like, no, this is not exciting. I don't want it. There's an opportunity for all of these agencies, all of these developers to use our information in a much more dynamic way, to serve us information that will actually serve us. So if they know more about me, they know that I'm a wealth accumulator. So send me information that's relevant to me and what I'm trying to achieve in my life. So if you're a 55-year-old or 60-year-old person that's trying to maybe downsize, You should be getting information that's going to serve you in your life
And
path.
downsize the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely agree. And
So-
I mean, that's actually quite funny you say that, because like my current real estate agent, I'm leasing, but they'll send me a match property alert. The same real estate agent. It's like the systems that they must be running there aren't in alignment with knowing who their customer is. It can't be. It's just literally, you were once interested in Piedmont. Here you go.
That's exactly
we
right.
haven't matched the data to know that you're already one of our tenants. Like,
It's embarrassing.
that kind of churn must cost them, internal money. It's like
There's a wealth of opportunity that's there.
Yeah.
They just need to uncover it, and no one is.
Yeah.
I've spoken to all the major directors, all the big business owners of all these big agencies, and I can tell you both in London, New York, Sydney, these systems that they're currently using are largely incumbent. They're trying to get a number of different processes to talk, and they don't.
But this is a trend across all service industry, right? Like,
Yes.
Lawyers, accountants, real estates, bookkeepers, like it's all just getting shaken up with technology. And that's because it's very people heavy businesses, right? At the moment, but tech is just changing that whole realm. Like,
I saw that happening, and I said, I want to be a part of it. And I was lucky because the market in Sydney at the moment, and even across a lot of major capital cities, it's depressed. There wasn't a lot of property transactions. So for me, the whole world was slowing down. And I thought, well, this is now a good time to innovate. What problems do I see? And why don't we deploy some capital some time and creativity to try and make a solution?
That's great. And like you said you were VC funded.
Yeah.
What was the journey like in terms of raising investment?
Hard.
Yeah, that's what everyone says.
Yeah, it's hard.
Hard in Australia, or
Well, we had to fly to London to go get VC fund. So we actually, it's a bit of a long-winded story. So we got invited to go and talk in Singapore about prop tech for our new company. We didn't have much to say, so we got on stage and started talking about stuff. While we were in Singapore, we thought we'd try and meet other prop tech people. We met up with this company called Property Guru, which is like realestate.com domain of that whole Southeast Asian area. And whilst talking to the business owner there, he said, you guys should go and, I really love your business idea and what you're trying to achieve. Go and inquire at this company called PiLabs. Now, PiLabs is one of the largest venture capital funds for property technology in Europe. So we said, okay, let's send an inquiry. We sent through an inquiry, an application, and out of 450 applicants, we got chosen. So there was 6 different businesses. We had to jump through about 5 different interviews, a number of different sort of proposals and financials and all that kind of fun stuff. They said, yeah, we love what you're trying to do, but you're going to have to fly over to London and live with us for 4 months. So that's what we did. We left our families, went over to London, stayed with them for 4 months, got to meet a whole bunch of really cool, interesting people. They backed us, and now they're still with us along the journey.
Wow. So you couldn't find capital in Australia? Did you end up looking?
Well, no, we did look in Australia. We could find capital in Australia. A lot of it was going to be private money, but we wanted the structure that came from VC. We thought there was going to be other opportunities that came along. One of the things that we learned along the way is we wanted to be funded by people that could put in more than just money. They could bring in a whole host of, IP, their own intelligence, their networks, but then also could follow us along on our journey. So when we go for our second round, then they can come along and tip in some more cash rather than a private, we've run out of money now. We can't support you in your next round.
Which commonly happens here in Australia. I mean, a friend's business, the same thing. They've done many rounds of private, and even accelerators and VCs here in Australia, and they just reach this point where we can't do a Series B in Australia. It's not going to happen. You got to go to US for that.
Yeah.
Definitely limited capital here, but it's awesome that you've managed to raise it. What would you say the biggest challenge in terms of getting the business off the ground would be? Just growing it, scaling it? What's one of the biggest challenges you've faced?
Well, I don't, it's funny you say, because I don't feel like we've made it. We haven't made it to that part where we feel comfortable,
So if the advice is to someone just, starting their business or,
be resilient. I think you've got to, it sounds corny and super cheesy. I've heard people say it over and over, but it's true that you got to really like what you're doing, because there's no point in your journey where you're like, I've made it now.
It never comes.
And then it's not there.
Well, momentarily it pops up, but then it disappears.
Yeah, for one opportunity, yes, it was all worthwhile, because it's always hard. You got to be nimble enough to keep on changing the way that you're going to approach that same problem. You're constantly looking for opportunities. You've got to kind of be wide-eyed enough to take it all in, but then narrow it and focus enough that you can do the necessary tasks to make money and keep it on the table and keep you afloat. I sat with a mentor of mine just moments ago before this meeting, and he said his approach to business is just stay in the game. Try and stay in the game long enough. If you can hit the ball back, if you will, and just keep on keeping on, if you will.
Like, don't give up.
Yeah, just don't give up. Just keep on going. You're going to uncover shit every single day. Just have enough grit and intestinal fortitude and passion to just keep on going.
You just have to make the shits that taste good, right?
Yeah.
So you were quoted saying that there was a need to communicate with millennials in unique ways.
Yeah.
What does that look like for your clients, and how do you help them deliver that?
Well, I don't think that there's one way and there's no silver bullet. I think it's understanding your target market, really understanding who the audience is, and communicating with them in a number of different ways. Because more often than not, they're not paying attention. So if you've jabbed them in a number of different ways and across a number of different mediums, and you're touching them on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and then you're SMSing them and you're sending an email, and then they're seeing your podcast, and one method isn't enough. It has to be multiple methods, and the message needs to stick. Is that message clear? So
you think there's a gap in real estate agents working with millennials, like in those platforms you're saying?
I see there's an opportunity.
Yeah,
it's not that there's a gap, because everyone's trying to do different things, but I don't think anyone's really hit the nail on the head.
Doing it right.
Yeah, no one's really doing it right.
There's a guy in US, he was on Gary Vee's show, real estate agent in New York, and he just puts up like photos of all the $1 million properties, like $100 million properties and stuff. He's gone nuts on Instagram, like 1 million followers or something. It's, I think it's about thinking differently in this space, right?
Yeah. And it's funny because you don't always know what's going to work.
Yeah.
That's part of it as well, is trying so many different things and allowing yourself to be surprised. More often than not, it's like you think you're going to be right with this one shot, and then it's some other thing that you did a little while ago that then comes back, and then
that worked. Yeah,
that worked.
You only spent like a week on and gave up. And
and then it's like it's suddenly getting traction.
Yeah, completely agree. And that's what business is about. You just try and you fail, and you try and you fail, and then you try and succeed, and it works. And
you fail heaps more than you succeed, personally. But
I mean, I was thinking about this just a little while ago, actually. Like, sometimes I wonder, like our business grew so quickly, and then it's like getting that last like stretch, the last mile is such a challenge. It sometimes feels like it just took off, and then it's like, how do you get to the rest? And sometimes I wonder if it's a stamina thing, or if it's like, because I know when you go into like a fresh business, there's so much stamina, and there's so much like drive and agility, because you've been in business for a year, right?
Yeah, with this business for a year.
You're definitely feeling that, like that.
Yeah,
agility.
there's just energy coming out of everywhere, and you're trying to do everything, and being focused enough to do these one or two specific things. I can imagine. I've worked in a number of different organizations, and I've been that employee that stayed for a long time. And the last company that I worked at, people commended them on kind of being an overnight success, but the business had been running for 11 years. So it took 11 years to become an overnight success. It was they'd never quite made it. And then one day everything just kind of worked. The market happened and then the market turned and this development came through and everything kind of happened, but it was because they stayed in the seat long enough for it all to tick over.
That's what Gary Vee talks about. Like that's the same thing with these podcasts. We do them. We're getting them out there, but it takes time to get it off the ground, right? Like you can't launch your first episode and then you check the stats and you're like, no one's listening. It's like he talks about it being like it took him 13 years to get to where he is now. Like 13 years ago, he started making videos.
Yeah.
And you can go back and watch those and it looks ridiculous. But it's that kind of commitment. Like 13 years is a long time.
It's a hell of a long time. And look how
to
much
stay
he's achieved.
committed. And the key message there, which I found very interesting, is that it's when everything starts to get boring, like do that same boring thing, that's when it takes off. It's like, not to say that business should be boring, but it's like he's probably kind of sick of doing these videos now, but that's what people want. They want the videos now.
Yeah.
And he's like, like he enjoys it, but it's kind of like, get on the podcast again, get on the stage again. You know what I mean?
Don't become
it's like
complacent.
He's an actor now. So you always want to then go to the next thing and work on the next funnest thing, but the world wants that Gary Vee, for instance.
Reps and sets, right?
Yeah, that's it.
From Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah. You just do it again and again and again, and that's what people want. They want that consistency. So yeah, I think that's a really good point you make about overnight success. Like it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
I definitely think Facebook, like the Facebook success story, distorts the reality in startups. Like everyone thinks, I'm going to be like Zuckerberg and have the big Facebook like overnight. But this is like winning the lottery sometimes, I think.
Yeah, you kind of everyone hears about those amazing, firecrackers, right? Because they're the exciting story. But
it is possible. It's
possible, but if you're in it for that, you're not going to last very long.
Yeah. And you'd have different challenges in a company of that scale and size. In saying that, you've built a pretty big following on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
How did you get that off the ground?
Like what we're doing today.
Just reps and sets?
Just reps and sets.
Yeah.
I just, I read a bunch of Gary Vee's books and listened to his podcasts, and I said, well, if I'm going to go and create a business, one thing that won't change is me. So I better build a following and a brand and a reputation and let people see who I am. And the people that like me will come towards me, and the people that won't will tell me to get stuffed, and I'll just delete them and see you later.
So you just got content set up, put it out there, posted on LinkedIn, and slowly but surely.
Literally just got my phone, walked on top of a hill, recorded it. I got bagged out because of the language that I chose while I was... So I'm up on this grassy knoll, and I was like, what's a grassy knoll, dude? And I just kept on doing videos and pushing, and then the following started happening. And it's amazing when you just do something consistently, who'd think then you get results, right? And it's fortunate that I really liked what I was doing, because then it became way, way easier. And it's funny because I was just talking to your team earlier, and they said, it looks like you're really happy and comfortable on camera. I'm like, well, that was a 30th take, so I chose the one that works,
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's funny how you just got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
But how was that first video, like filming it? Because I'm sure a lot of people...
It was painful.
Yeah.
It was annoying. It was frustrating. I was on top of a hill. It was hot. I was sweating. People were making noises. I got the take right. Then a dog barked. And then I got the shits. And then I'd start all over again. And then I eventually got it and shipped it. And I felt like, it's all going to happen. And then no one really watched it.
One view.
Yeah. My sister watched and said, dude, your hair looks like crap. So then you just keep on doing it. Hey, I think the thing with putting yourself out there is to be kind to yourself, to know that you're not perfect, to know that it's not going to be great, and to be okay with it not being perfect. On the whiteboard at my old job, I used to have this saying, I'm going to screw the saying up, but it's like, be okay, or you should be embarrassed of your first take kind of thing. The first version that you put out should be embarrassing, and being all right with it, just keep on going, and it's not going to be perfect, but it'll keep on getting better over time.
Yeah.
Actually, sorry to keep on talking, but it reminds me of this story that I heard. There was a professor who was working with his students, and it was a pottery class. And he said, you can submit one masterpiece at the end, or you can do like 100 kilos of pieces. We're not going to judge you on those 100 kilos of pieces. So long as you do 100 kilos, it's fine. By the end of the semester, the people that had chosen to do the 100 kilos of work, their masterpiece was way, way better than the people that had chosen to do that one masterpiece. So it was kind of like...
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, just do the work. Don't judge yourself and just keep on going because it will get better.
Yeah, love it. And I think that's the key for anyone getting into the content space, is just to keep getting it out there. Just keep pushing it, because it's like one of the biggest challenges I had at the start in terms of putting content out was like, you think that you're not enough. I think that's a very big one. Like you say, you realize you're not perfect, but it's realizing that you are enough. It's like you turn the camera on, you're like, what have I got to tell the world? No one cares about this, right?
Yeah.
And then after the 10th video, everyone's like, this is sick. Like, keep putting videos up, you know? And you're like, oh, yeah.
Someone cares. Someone wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
It's arrogant to...
As long as it's done from the right intention.
Yeah.
I think that's the key.
That's right. Because it's arrogant in a way to say, hey, I've got something to say. I want people to listen to me. Yeah. Listen to what I got to say. But then it's also arrogant to say that you have nothing to contribute, because you can say one thing and someone will grab it and say that was amazing and thank you. So you owe it to people.
You never know
there.
when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. So you got it to 23,000 followers. And I think those are some really good tips in terms of building a LinkedIn followership. And, you know, I think it's a challenging network to potentially build followerships on. So I think you've done really well there. Were you putting up a lot of articles as well?
Heaps.
Yeah, so not just video, like
articles. I got lazy because I'm semi-illiterate, so writing articles became hard. Yeah. So I just thought prefer to do videos. It's almost a lazy man's approach. Just grab a camera and start chatting and go.
Do you edit them, or you just send it live?
I just do. I just get them out there. Because if I sit and dwell on
I'm the same, because I'm like, it just needs to be straight through. But I mean, some people are against that. They say you should edit it, but I think just not get it right the first time, but the first take is what the world want to see, basically. Like,
I'll take a couple takes if I've screwed up.
You're getting up on stage and just let it happen. You
know? But if it works, just go.
Try it out. Yeah. Love it. So where do you see the future of the business going, like in the bigger picture at the moment? You obviously, you know, you kind of see it sitting in this space, but where do you really want to take it? Where's the big goal?
Yeah, I don't want to offend people with what I'm about to say. But I want to shake up all the incumbents. I want our business to move into agency world. I want us to be the real estate agency that will take on, you know, the CBREs, the Colliers, the Knight Franks, the big dogs. We're lucky enough that we really know and understand agency world quite intimately, but because we've built all of our own technology from the ground up, it's flexible enough for us to add the bits and pieces that we need to truly serve our clients. So I want to be that tech platform and agency that will take out the incumbents, because we're delivering the best service out there.
Love it. I'm excited to see where that goes.
Likewise.
How do you keep grounded as a founder? Like, how do you keep, you know, you're putting out so many fires throughout the day, and, you know, how do you keep stable? Do you have any routines, daily practices, or? Yeah,
I do. I think because you take so many hits throughout the day, it's important to sort of line up your successes as well. It sounds like you're kind of well read and you listen to a lot of podcasts. So I try and start my days really strong. Get up, you know, have your glass of water, hydrate, go to the gym, and win in my mornings, if you will.
Yeah.
Go do the things I know I should be doing, take my vitamins, you know, get up and do all that kind of stuff, do the necessary reading and set my intention for the day. And then I like to close my day by winding down properly. So get my notebook out, do your Grant Cardone or whoever you listen to, and write down the things
The
that
journal.
yeah, what am I grateful for? What are the things that I really love and appreciate about what I've done? What things could I have done better in my day? How did I win today? What's my grand vision? What do I see? What's that real big inspiring thing that wants me to get up tomorrow morning? And then also what's my mission? Like, what are the 2 or 3 things that I need to do tomorrow or this week that will help me achieve that vision?
That's awesome. Yeah. So you have, like, the morning is just kind of getting into it, getting straight out there, winning the day, and the night is reflecting back on everything.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. Do you do any meditation?
Yeah, I do. Part of that, the evening wind down, is meditation. So stopping for 5, 10, 20 minutes, however much time I allocate for myself, just to
Release,
breathe,
yeah.
just slow down and stop. Don't do it as much as I'd like to, and I feel guilty about not doing it. But yeah, at least once a week, you have to stop.
Yeah, because it's just non-stop in startup land. Like, you're wearing so many hats every day, and like just one thing after the other.
You can be as busy as you want to be.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah, you can be the busiest person in the world.
I realize that 20-hour days don't serve me anymore. Like, I've had to cut back because it's just like you just work so hard and it doesn't get you any further.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I started thinking, well, why am I killing myself? It's so that I can spend time with my family, so that I can spend time with my puppy. But
then you don't do that because it's
because you're trying to keep on staying on that treadmill. So I think if you can, I think this is a Tim Ferriss thing, like block your time.
Block time, yeah.
So block my day into segments to do that task. It's hard to not, like, while you're at the gym, to not think about work, but it's important to try and create
just be at the gym, be there.
That present thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, staying present.
Yeah.
I follow that a lot at the moment, like just being here in the now, being like working on what needs to be worked on today, not in like 2 weeks, and just really staying vigilant to one task at a time, like working through that, and bringing that mindfulness to work, definitely,
and to home,
yeah,
blocking my time off at home and being present at home.
Because when I used to work in the office, when I used to have a home office, they just blended. There was just one thing. Like, there was home and there was work. It was like some weird combination of both.
Yeah.
It's like, I'll just duck to the office for an hour, and then you're suddenly there for another 5 hours at 7 o'clock at night. So you're right. Blocking it. This is it. This is time to spend with family, and that's it. What would you say to anyone then, just thinking about starting a business, thinking about kind of taking that leap of faith?
Don't start a business for business's sake.
Can you expand on that?
Yeah. For instance, earlier we said that we like business because of the freedoms that it gives you. Don't start a business because you think, I'm going to make money or I'm going to be free. By starting your own business, you're going to be more tied down than ever. It's really, really hard. You're going to get punched in the face every single day, 10 times a day. So unless there's something that you really care about, unless you're really committed to this idea or what you're trying to bring to the world, don't do it for the sake of doing it. Take the time that you need to prepare yourself before you go and jump into the deep end.
You should not do anything for the sake of doing it, right?
Yeah, just for the sake of it.
On that note, that's don't hang out with a friend for the sake of hanging out with them.
Yeah.
It's because you want to, right?
Yeah.
Like, there should be a purpose behind it. That's awesome. Look, it's been great having you on the show.
Thank you.
And really keen to see where you take the followership on Instagram and just keep evolving that over time. I think it's going to be quite powerful. So good to have you on the show.
Likewise.
Thanks. So that wraps up this season of the 9 to Survive podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. We definitely want to hear from you and any feedback you have. So either jump on our Facebook, or you can email me at alex@easycompanies.com.au with any feedback or suggestions, or if you want to be part of the show. And until next season, hope you enjoy it.